Philadelphia is a saxophone city. Many of the world's greatest saxophone practitioners are from here. That includes John Coltrane, Jimmy Heath, Benny Golson, Grover Washington Jr., Michael Brecker, Stan Getz. The list goes on and on. In fact, even Charlie Parker lived in the city for a little while. The interesting thing about Philly is that there are musicians that are born and raised here, and they stay here, and then there's musicians born and raised here, and they leave and go elsewhere. And then there's musicians who are born at other places, and then they migrate here. There's something in the Philadelphia water that makes its musicians and its music and its people special. This includes the swinging grooves of jazz music, the gospel music, R&B music, Philly soul music. All of these things contribute to Philadelphia's musical culture, community, and saxophone legacy.
Each gave me my very first two jazz records, which was John Coltrane's Giant Steps and The Left Supreme. At that point, I was just like, yeah, I want to play the sax. And you know, Philly has a great lineage of saxophonists. I mean, you got John Coltrane, you have Jimmy Heath, you have Benny Golson, and the list goes on, man. Yeah, I think the beautiful thing with growing up with so many saxophonists when I was growing up is all of our willingness to be humbled and to be mentored by some of the most phenomenal elders in the music scene in Philly. I think that within itself is one of the key factors as to why Philly is such a great music scene in general, because of the bridging of the gap between the elders and the youth. So we had each other, you know, as the youth, but we had a strong foundation in the elders as well. It was a brotherhood and a sisterhood too. There was some dope sisters. That's some of my closest brothers, people that I can call brothers.
So many saxophone players have a legacy here that has carried on to this very day. You know, if you ask anyone, you know, to name a saxophone player that they know of or a jazz musician, they'll probably say John Coltrane in this city. I feel as though John Coltrane was also one of the pioneers of just having that much freedom when playing music, just having a song where it can really go anywhere and everywhere, and the band is just expected to follow. So my connection to Grover Washington Middle School is that was the first place I ever went where I started to learn music. And one of the great things about that program is that it was all ages. I believe I started when I was in kindergarten. There were musicians there that were up to 17, 18 years old. And actually, I remember for the final show, Mr. Magic was played, and there was like some older saxophone players playing it. And since that day, it's always been one of my favorite jazz songs.
There's an amazing lineage of current and past drummers and bass players that play a certain type of way that is just intrinsic to Philadelphia, and you don't get that anywhere else. So there's a lot of significance to the Philadelphia saxophone lineage, going all the way back in the day to Frankie Fairfax's band that was kind of a launching pad for a lot of influential careers, to Benny Golson and the Jazz Messengers and all that stuff. And then there's just a huge, rich history that I think deserves to be explored a bit more. So I think I've been directly influenced by a lot of great Philadelphia saxophonists. Tim Warfield, who's on this, as one of the leading influences in my life. Also, Grover Washington Jr. He influenced my dad to play saxophone, and that's why I play saxophone. So Grover's always been a favorite of mine, and there's a lot of amazing, Philly saxophone players.
My unique relationship with Philadelphia, first of all,
starts with my father. My father's from West Philly, but I grew up hearing stories about my pop. When he was younger, he used to take an eyebrow pencil and put in a mustache and wear a cap, and he used to go to the Showboat and Peps, and he would see Lee Morgan and John Coltrane and Jimmy Smith. The relationship between youth and seniority is still very much a part of the teaching process and learning process in Philadelphia today. It makes me interact with the younger saxophonists in a way. I just try to keep up with what they're doing. I try to be as supportive as possible. There is sort of a trying to make sure that the essence of what this music is remains intact, no matter how new the idea is. So I just try to stay in contact, stay out of the way too. You know, people have to be who they are, but I try to my best to be as supportive as possible.
it for the rose that grew from the concrete, right? I feel like Philly is just such a homegrown city to where the identity is just so, it's vulnerable, but it's very impactful. You know, you can tell whenever someone plays or whenever someone talks or walks or has a certain demeanor about themselves or a certain swag, you know that, you know, he or she is from Philly.